What's up guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Beyond Riders protective pants. Now I know protective clothing isn't always the most exciting thing to look at, but I think it's very important to protect ourselves and represent our sport well. So let's take a look at these interesting pants. Alright, so why should you even get protective pants? Why can't you just ride in shorts or even normal jeans? Well, the fact of the matter is, at the speeds that we ride, 20 to even 40 miles an hour, the opportunity to lose a lot of skin is always just around the corner. So when you think about the speed that you're going and the amount of road rash that you could acquire, you really start to wonder, how can I protect myself? And the fact of the matter is, road rash can be really bad. If you've ever seen pictures of people's road rash when they come off a board at high speeds, you will understand that the healing process absolutely sucks. It takes a long time, could require skin grafts, and often results in a lot of scarring. Now, some people are fine with that, and I didn't really think about it too much until I saw some pictures. And I'm obviously not going to show any of those on screen, but it can get pretty bad. And when you fall down and the EMTs have to scrape you off the road, they have to scrub all the dirt and rocks out of your wounds, and that sounds absolutely horrible. So I would rather just protect myself and either wear armor on my knees or protective pants like these. So those are the main reasons. It's really just another level of insurance to protect your skin. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the materials in these pants. Now, these are, for the most part, normal jeans, but they have some special features that make them protective pants. So, in here we've got 98% denim and 2% lycra, which gives you a little bit of stretch to the jean and denim portions of these pants. In addition, you have an inner lining, which is 50% Coolmax and 50% Kevlar. Now, I'm not really super familiar with what Coolmax is. I'll probably look it up and put a note on the screen or something, but that is what you've got in this inner lining that protects your butt area as well as your knees. Now, the other materials in here are really just the jean material, the YKK zipper, the stitching, and that's pretty much it. There's some Velcro on each of the pockets and a little bit more polyester fabric that holds the pockets in and stuff like that. So overall, pretty decent materials, and not as much information as I would like, but it does the job. Now, I'm not really trying to make this video extremely long because I know protective gear isn't that interesting. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into the RBEM score. For that, we've got a bunch of categories to go through, starting with comfort. After that, we'll move on to talking about the quality, and then the impact and slide protection, as well as visibility, the maneuverability, and the price. And then we'll do a composite score and an outro. So let's go ahead and get started with the comfort rating. All right, so comfort. These pants are fairly comfortable. They're not amazing, but they're not terrible. In these pants, since they're just normal jeans, you can really think of them like that, except that they're a little bit more bulky, and you can definitely feel the pockets in them on both the hips and the knees. Particularly the knees, we have an issue here with the Velcro, and a lot of times if you're not wearing the pads, which I haven't worn the pads in here because I normally ride with either my leg armor or no pads, and the Velcro in here often pricks your leg, and it's pretty annoying. I'm not sure if that'll be present on all models or sizes, but inside here you've got your knee armor pocket, and you've got some Velcro at the bottom to hold the pad in, and it's just kind of a weird shape. The Velcro is not very flexible, and it ends up on my knee pretty frequently, and it can be kind of annoying. You don't really notice it as much while riding, but if you're walking around with it or sitting down, you'll definitely notice it. So that's one thing I would like to point out. Get the leg back out here. The hip pads are all right. Mine are kind of like free floating. I don't know if they're supposed to be, but yeah, it looks like one of them broke loose already, so whoops. I have been wearing these quite a bit. I got them a little while ago, but I got them when it was way too hot to be wearing them, so I've been wearing them more frequently lately. And I find that the hip pads are very obvious when you're sitting down in an office style chair. When you're riding, you don't really notice them at all. So those are some things to note about the comfort. Overall, it's pretty decent, but at the end of the day, they're nowhere near as comfortable as my normal jeans. So I'm gonna have to give them a 4 out of 5. Oh, also one more note on the comfort. These are quite hot. So, you know, jeans are normally hot, but on top of that, these are black. They're thicker denim material than most jeans, and they have some Kevlar baked in. So don't plan on wearing these in the summer unless you want to be very, very hot. So I've only been wearing these in sub 70-degree weather, and I expect that will probably be the same for most people. All right, so next up we got quality. Now the quality on these pants is fairly decent. There's a couple qualms that I have here and there with it, but overall it's pretty good. But let's go through these things one by one. First, these belt loops are wonky. They're absolutely ginormous, probably 2 inches or even more than that, and that's way bigger than a standard belt loop. And you might think that's fine, but it really causes problems when you start to actually wear belts with it. These pants have an extra long butt section between the hips and your waist area. It's like extended, I think similar to like high-rise jeans, which I never wear. So I wear these in a 30-32 with a belt to make it more comfortable, because the combination of the extra length here and the extra area up here make them pretty easy to pull down. So I'm usually wearing a belt with them. But when you're wearing a belt, you have this massive belt loop that the belt can slide around in. And when it slides up to the top, it can even come over the edge of the pants between the belt loops. And that's really, really annoying. So, yeah, something to mention there. Honestly, I think these belt loops should be a lot smaller. More like the normal size on a normal pair of jeans. Other than that, other quality things, as you saw, one of my pad pockets has popped out. I wish these hip pads were sewed in a little bit better. Just having this little attachment point at the end is a little bit sketchy. And then, just in general, all the stitching is really nice. A lot of it is double stitched, extra strong. Pockets are on there really nicely. The pockets in here are nice and deep, which is great. You've got a coin pocket here, looks really nice. The belt, or sorry, the rivet loop or whatever for the button is really strong. It is fraying a little bit on my pair. I'll probably put some B-roll in this section. So I wish that wasn't happening, but it's all right. Belt loops are fastened on fairly well. They kind of look like they could rip over time, but hard to tell. But overall, quality is fairly decent. I'm gonna have to give these a 3 out of 5 just because I really wish those hip pockets were fastened better, and I think this is a huge oversight with the belt loops being this big. All right, so next up we're gonna talk a little bit about impact protection. Now, these pants have pockets on them, like I was talking about earlier, for both hip and knee protection. Now, I think they could go even more with these, as I know there's pants that have butt protection as well as tailbone protection. So overall impact protection is average, I would say. I think there's other pants out there that offer a little bit more. But I've got the knee pads out here. These are nice and squishy impact absorbing material, rated for crash level 1. You can read more about that on the website that I quoted in one of the export videos, so I'll link that up in the iCard. And yeah, they also have crash level 2 available, so having crash level 1 and 2 pads available is pretty cool. They're a separate purchase from the jeans. As you buy the jeans normally, you don't get any pads, so yeah, that's something to take into consideration. So for the impact protection of the jeans by themselves, it would have to be 0, but because they have it available, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4 out of 5 just because I think they could do better, and there's other pants out there that do better. So 4 out of 5. On to slide protection. Now this is where things get a little bit in the gray area. First of all, they do not list the GSM number of the Kevlar on their site, which I think is super weird. If they do update it or tell me what it is before I post this, I'll put it in the editing. But in here, you know what, I'm just gonna turn these completely inside out. The first thing to note, like I mentioned earlier, is that these are not fully coated in Kevlar, which one is probably fine because they would be very hot if they were fully coated. And two, the areas that you normally fall on are covered in Kevlar. So it's not really a ton to complain about, but let me show you the areas that are covered. So we've got Kevlar in this inner lining all throughout the front part of your leg. Or sorry, they have, not quite. This is the back part of your leg. So in the butt area, you have Kevlar from about your waistline all the way till just below the crotch area. And I think that's pretty good coverage for if you were to fall and slide on your butt. And it goes all the way across and appears to be stitched in pretty well. Now, the one question mark I have here is I have no clue how thick this Kevlar is. It feels decently thick. I would say it feels similar to the Kevlar in the X-Board shirt, which is not as protective as the 270 GSM in the protective jacket. So overall, I think it's great that they have this Kevlar in here, but it's really a question mark as to how much it will protect you. Now, Kevlar is very abrasion resistant, and I have no doubt that these will be much better than if you were to fall in normal jeans, but it's really a question mark for me, and because of that, I'm going to be giving this a 3 out of 5. But again, slide protection is important, and I think these will be much better than normal jeans. Okay, next up we've got visibility, and this is where we're taking a huge hit with these pants. Now, first of all, you'll notice that these are completely black, and they actually have absolutely zero reflective material anywhere on the pants except for if you roll up the legs. So this here, these little strips on the bottom are the only bits of reflective visibility material on these pants. I really think they can do a lot better. X-Board did a really good job on their shirt with having it on extra seams and stuff like that. But I rode home at night with these just the other day, and man, did it feel a bit sketchy knowing that almost nothing was visible to the drivers behind me. So really unfortunate that we don't have more of that here. Obviously, I understand for riding in the daytime, these are gonna be just fine, but at nighttime, which is pretty common for a lot of people, you're gonna be pretty invisible. So for the visibility, I'm gonna have to give them only a 2 out of 10. These can be rolled up fairly far, but it's still only about 5 inches, 6 inches of material over the entire length of the pant. Okay, now we're on to a very subjective category here in style. And honestly, these things kill it in style. I think they look super great. Really nice black pair of jeans. I've worn them to work a couple times. I really like the branding here. It looks super professional, really nice. The button is really high quality and nice. And overall, they're just a really good pair of black jeans. And if they were more comfortable to wear, I'd be convinced to wear them on a normal day. But they're a little bit bulky and less flexible than my normal jeans, so I'll refrain from doing that. But overall, they look really great, and I'm perfectly fine with giving these a 5 out of 5. All right, so now we come down to price. And price is interesting for protective gear because it varies a lot. In helmets and jackets, it can be hundreds to upper hundreds, like $500, $600 for some of these things. So for these pants, just the pants themselves come in at $139 US in the US. And to get the pads alongside them, you're gonna have to spend a little bit more. For the Crash Level 1 pads, which are black, you're gonna have to spend another $20. And for the Crash Level 2 pads, which is what they sent me, these are gonna cost you $40. So in order to get this full package that I've got sitting on the table right now, you're gonna have to fork out $180 plus shipping and taxes. So, you know, they're not a cheap investment, but they will protect your skin better than normal jeans. And I like having a pair of dedicated riding pants that I can use, especially because they're warm. So I'm not gonna be wearing these in the summer because they're just way too hot for that. But during the winter time, these will be on for pretty much every ride that I do. Being denim, they're super durable. You can wear them a couple times, and you can wash them in the washing machine on cold setting, which is great. Obviously you want to take out the pads though if you put it in the washing machine. So overall the price is pretty decent. There are other options out there in the motorcycle world. I'm not super familiar with all those, but on doing a little bit of research, there's a lot more expensive options, and there's a lot of cheaper options. So I think this falls kind of in the middle of the road, especially with the ability to put in the crash pads. So we're gonna have to give this a 3 out of 5. Again, this is kind of a weird thing to rate, but I'm throwing it in here anyway. So 3 out of 5 for price. We finally come down to our last category here in maneuverability. Now, I think this is super important for protective gear because as soon as you start adding Kevlar in, you really restrict movement. Now, with these pants, since they have slightly flexible denim parts and not full coverage of that Kevlar, they end up still being pretty maneuverable. Overall, when you're sitting down, they're decent. When you're trying to either run or walk quickly, you can definitely feel a lot of the Kevlar in the knee area, as well as those annoying Velcro parts. So overall, it's decently maneuverable, but it could be better. So they'll get a 7 out of 10 for that. But like I said, I'm still gonna keep wearing them for every ride. And you don't really notice things like maneuverability when you're riding. It's more of the general use kind of situations. Okay, so we have finished all the scoring categories, and that brings us to a total RBEM score of 32 out of 50. Now, this may seem kind of low, but this is the only pants that we've done on the channel, so they're sitting pretty in first place. I think there's a lot of things that you can do better with pants like this. For example, having better integration of that Velcro, maybe rounding the edges, making it less obtrusive when you're not wearing those pads. I think there's some quality improvements that could be made on here, as well as some improvements to the belt loops and stuff like that. So I would be interested in checking out other kinds of protective pants in the future. So if you have any suggestions for what you might want to see, make sure to leave them down in the comments below. I know that Carhartt has some great protective pants that I've seen some of my friends wearing. I know there's a lot of other brands out there. So if you have a brand that you want me to check out, maybe I can get hooked up with them and see if we can get a set sent over for review. Now, thank you so much to Beyond Riders for sending over this pair of pants. I've loved wearing them. They look absolutely fantastic, except at nighttime. And I'm gonna keep wearing them and representing them in my shots and videos. So thank you so much for sending them over to review, and I hope you find this video useful. So let's go ahead and record an outro. I don't really know why I decided to split up that clip, but anyway, here we are. Again, big shout out to Beyond Riders for sending over this piece of equipment. And I hope you guys found this review useful. If you did, make sure to hit that like and subscribe to stay tuned for more content. I've got a ton of content coming. I've been super busy recording and editing, so hopefully you guys enjoy the next couple of videos. And stay safe, keep on riding, and peace out.